Abhishek Rastogi, founder at Rastogi Chambers. Abhishek, good morning and welcome to the show. It's a good sunrise day for the people in India. How are you looking at GST 2.0? Because categorically, a lot of expectations that were on the cards when the GST, when the meeting was on, when the cabinet took it up. But now that the GST Council has given it a thumbs up, what are you seeing?
Very good morning, Hiral. A big boost. It is a shot in the arm and will certainly help the economy, the consumers, the overall confidence of the country will be high. You mentioned that the stock market has, already seen the impact of this GST rationalization. I think from the overall perspective, it's a brilliant move. We had mentioned on your channel around 15th August as well that the deadlines will be met. The GST Council's meeting yesterday with giving certainty to the rate rationalization is a very, very positive move. And I think overall the sentiments will be very positive as an aftermath of this.
Abhishek, when you talk about the proposed two-slab GST structure as well now of 5% and 18%, how are you seeing the impact translate when it comes to profitability as well as pricing now?
I think certainly the benefit of these reduced taxes will have to be passed on to the consumer. The intention of the government is very, very clear and absolute that the benefit must pass on to the consumer. This big GST reform, as far as the tax cuts are concerned, must lead to direct benefit to the consumers, and that will happen. I think industry will support the government in this regard. I don't see that should be much of a challenge here. The other point is that anti-profiteering provisions, how will they come in? Will there be some measures to ensure that a deterrence is created? Will have to be seen as well.
Apart from this, will there be any compliance changes that business should anticipate with the change in the new GST rates? And is there a way they should prepare for them?
I think absolutely. One of the objective was to make compliances easy. Rate rationalization also helps reduce classification disputes. Now, for instance, the hotel, I'm just giving an example, with more than 7,500 rupee, a tariff was at a different rate, and between 1,000 to 7,500 was at a different rate. With this rationalization, when most of these rates converge into the standard rate of 18%, that compliance and complexity also comes down. The classification disputes also comes down.
Okay. And Abhishek, when you talk about rate rationalization also from here on, will that actually affect the ability when you talk about claiming input tax credit? Because goods and services will fall into different tax slabs, number one. Two, a lot of times your input, which is your raw materials that you're purchasing, is at a lower tax slab versus your output, which now becomes at a higher tax slab. For example, if you talk about the aerated beverages segment as well, your input is mainly at 18%, your outgo is going to be now 40%. Taking that example into consideration as a case for a chat, how would the dynamics then change?
Of course, I think input tax credit will remain the important aspect to determine the cost. In some cases, it may happen that the input tax is much more than the output tax. Especially, we have seen a lot of these medicines, life-saving drugs going to now 0%. So these will be not zero rated. These will be exempted, and there is a difference, which means that that input tax credit will become a cost. But having said that, the reduction in rate from 12% to 5% or from 18% to 5% will give enough margin in terms of the leverage which the companies will have. I mean, of course, the additional input tax cost would not be that much. So overall, from the perspective of pricing, the pricing must come down. The cumulative input tax credit in most of these cases would not be that high, so that the prices cannot be reduced.
And if you have to talk about the expected impact with regards to rationalization, when you talk about the problem of inverted duty structure, that has affected a lot of businesses and industries historically. How is that reversal going to benefit?
So I think as far as inverted duty structure is concerned, there have been a lot of litigation around this issue and a lot of debates around this issue. What government could do is possibly identify certain sectors which are actually meant for middle class or are for mass consumption, and if there is an inverted duty structure with respect to those sectors, the government has powers enough within the statute to provide refund when it comes to inverted duty structure, even when it relates to both goods and services for specified sectors. So that power the government has. I think in a couple of months, there'll be more close monitoring of these different sectors, how the prices have come down, how businesses have reacted, and how consumer is getting the benefit. And if thereafter still there would be certain issues with respect to specific sectors, then government can always come out with the refund of the inverted duty structure for both goods and services with respect to the specified sectors.
That's interesting, Abhishek, to listen, to understand on that front. The other aspect we need to understand is the pass on of the rate cuts when that would happen to the consumers. Do you think that the government probably will introduce any anti-profiteering framework as well, so that they could safeguard and ensure that the consumer do get the benefits of the rate cuts that do come in?
So I think anti-profiteering in some way could act as a deterrence. With 1 crore GST registrants, the anti-profiteering dispute, which was there before the Delhi High Court when this profiteering business came into play, was only with respect to 150 companies. So I think today, while there is a sunset clause for anti-profiteering, the government has powers under 171 to revoke that notification or issue a new notification to extend the deadline. Those powers are still there. In what form and manner it comes will have to be seen. But I think what is important is that there is some sort of a deterrence, so that whether that is invoked or not can be seen later. But that will mean that the companies at this stage will pass on the benefit on to the consumers. Because if the benefit is not passed to the consumers, then the entire rational and objective of the announcements made by the Honorable Prime Minister may go for a toss. While it is expected that the industry, in all fairness, will pass on the benefit, but there could be few cases where these benefits are not passed. And to do that, a deterrence, a sort of a deterrence in the statute is essential.
Abhishek, the other aspect I want to address with you is what happens when regards to compensation cess. Now, a lot of sectors where the compensation cess is now removed, that entire, gamut of compensation cess is out of the system now. The government has given a timeline in terms of when the central will be repaying the debt that they've taken from the state government. Companies with a cess, a compensation cess which is removed, but the GST base rate only has been increased, right? So does that mean they will benefit, or do you think it still remains a status quo for them?
So I think in most of these cases, the rate would not be higher than the rate which was an aggregate of the GST at 28% plus the compensation cess. Most of these products which were at a higher rate have either come down to 18% without any sort of cess or levy. And these products at 28%, which the government has been calling as selected products, which would get a higher brunt of taxes, would go to 40% from 28%. So in a way, it is good that the effective rate to the consumer would not be as high, because prior to today also that rate was 28% of GST and 25% in a lot of cases of the compensation cess, which made that effective rate more than 43% in a lot of cases. So what will happen now is that the effective tax on the output supply would more or less remain the same. The rate has increased from 28% to 40%, which also addresses the concerns of the state governments, where they say that they may have a revenue loss, because now this 40% straight away goes to the shared between the center and the state. These share of the state is 70% of these taxes, and the share of the center is only 30% of these taxes. So higher tax from these thin goods go to the state, and it will be beneficial for all from that perspective.
Okay. Abhishek, one aspect I want to ask you is any hits and misses that you've seen so far, because a lot that was on the cards that was anticipated was out in public domain where a lot of chatter was going on. But what were the key hits and misses if you have to talk about any of the products?
So I think in terms of insurance, life insurance and health insurance, both for individuals and for senior citizens, and all of these cases have been addressed. There is a clear exemption now. We have been very vocal and articulated about this issue, and this is a big blessing, for everybody. Everybody today takes these insurance policies, life insurance and health insurance. So this is a major, major announcement, and it will really help every common man and every person in the country. So I think this is a very big one. This announcement is to insurance sector as well. So the sector will boost, the consumers will get the benefit, and there will be a direct linkage of the benefit which will come by way of reduction of these taxes. So I think, to me, this is a big, big announcement which has happened for the insurance sector. Now, in terms of the misses, I think most of these taxes which were supposed to go to a lower rate, either from 12 to 5 or from 18 to 5 or from 28 to 5, all of these announcements have happened. So in terms of the misses, I don't see there are a lot of these misses. There could be some tweaking or rationalization with respect to the taxes even being increased. So what happens to the room tariffs? Will there be rationalization with respect to the expensive business class, international travel? All of those things could also come in the time ahead, because there would be a requirement to get some additional revenues also from these luxurious goods or services. So I think that may happen in the near future, but I think in terms of the addressing, in terms of the rate cut and the rationalization, I think most of these expected items, and we've been talking about it for last 3 weeks, most of these items for which we've been anticipating the change, the reduction has happened, and I think 10 on 10 to the GST Council.
Okay. Just one quick question, Abhishek. Levy of GST with regards to delivery charge, that is food and QC. Apparently, that is going to be taken as a slight negative for platforms, and this has not been something that the street was talking about. Any quick comment on that?
I think, see, there was always a dispute whether these are composite services or the mixed services. The restaurants are getting taxed at a lower rate, and these delivery charges are getting taxed at a higher rate. So that anomaly is there, but I think it is absolutely okay, because till the time the food delivery is at the lower rate of 5%, the maximum part of the supply value is from the value from the delivery of food, etc. The delivery part is very less. So I think it should not make any much impact to the consumer till the time the main supply is at a lower rate.
Right. All right, Abhishek. Thank you so much for speaking to us at NDTV Profit.